Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Tosh Customs, and today we are looking at the Sexy Ice 2019 Eliminator 3-pack. I think it's called the Unkval Eliminator 3-pack. Yeah, Unkval right here on the back. This is a huge box, as you can tell, and I got the exclusive version because I think it comes with a little drone and some like extra accessories to put into the tanks on their back. I was really excited when I saw this figure announced. I had not known about Sexy Ice before, but they have released one previous figure, which looks like some sort of bioweapon mantis. But these guys really struck at the heart of this sort of like Halo super soldier, felt a little bit like Metal Gear Solid design inspiration. So I had to hop on this. I got the pre-order. I got it from Bombusby, which was the recommended retailer by Sexy Ice, and unfortunately they just shipped it very slow. It felt like it seemed like a lot of other people got their figures before I did, but no worries. So here we go. This is the inner packaging. You did see the scratch on the front of my box. That was due, I assume, to customs cutting into the box and checking what was inside. Unfortunately, we have a little bit more battle damage here on the inside cover, but this is beautiful art. Very, very cool. It says actually in the top corner here, which you can't see very well. Move the camera back a little bit. It says right here, Unkval artificial evolution, isolated subject of Shoggoth. So pretty cool. Looks like we're getting a little bit of a lore drop here on the box art itself, which is sweet. So let's remove this front cover now. Wow, look at that. Look at that. That is some beautiful packaging right there. We have all three figures here. They're sets of hands. And if we remove them out of the box here, it looks like we have a top clamshell and then a lower clamshell. Yes, our top, wow, these are heavy. Our top clamshell is the figures, and our lower clamshell is quite a number of accessories. Sorry, the camera's just cluttered right now. Move this box out of the rest of the box out of the way. And what we are left with here is a number of accessories. Some, looks like some button cell batteries up here, or these are some kind, oh, no, these are joints. These are joints. No batteries, no batteries. These are little tank joints for the backs of the figures. And looks like we also get an instruction manual with what I would assume is some extra wrist joints and feet joints for the figure. So we're going to ignore the instruction manual. We've done this long enough. So let's dive right in. I think we're going to start with the accessories first since it's the smaller clamshell. So let me just move these figures out of the way. So much packaging. Put these off to the side and let's look at what they come with, because accessories are just as important as the figures. You don't have quality accessories, quality paint, not going to look good paired together. So let's dive in. So we get 3 of everything here. I'm going to move this camera in too. So let's start from the very top corner here. They get these shields, and I love that everything is plastic wrapped too. That's so cool. Everything has a little bit of casing here. So here we go. We have the shield, and let me adjust my lighting here just a little bit. There we go. So we have our ballistic shields here. It looks like we have a little bug logo or a bug icon up on the front of the shield there. EAE, which is, I think, their motto. It's like eliminate or execute, amend, erase. That's what it says on the box art. So execute, amend, erase, and then we have Unkval again, which is, I guess, maybe their division, government division or something like that. Very nice, clean shield. Very nice sculpt. I like that we have these serrations here on the edge, like blades, as well as these sharper points on the edge of the shield. And very nice paint and texture application too. You can kind of see that. Just feels very premium, very matte, very smooth to the touch. It doesn't feel chalky or like whatever finishing spray they used to set the paint. It doesn't feel like it's coming off or leaving any kind of residue on my skin. So very, very clean, very impressive. This is a Chinese company, and this is not bagging on Chinese companies or anything, but you know, you always have to worry, especially about a newer company, considering this is only their second product. But I went all in after I saw the articulation breakdown. It looks like it was very worth it. On this side, we have a hand grip, and we also have a strap to slide the arm through, so we'll have to test that later. And obviously, because we got the 3-pack, we have 2 more shields here. And for the sake of it, we'll unwrap both and we'll look for consistency and quality. Whatever printing they used, very clean. I mean, as you would expect, I think the 3-pack was about $250, which breaks down to, I don't know, somewhere in the range of like $80 a figure, $85 a figure. So you would hope the finish is consistent, and it looks like it is. All the paint is clean. All the plastic is clean. This strap here is all hard plastic though. I was thinking it was going to be rubbery. This is a very, very rigid plastic, if you hear that. So heads up, doesn't seem like they're really, at least for these, working with multiple kinds of plastic, sticking with some very hard, probably PVC. So there we go. Nice shields, nice finish. Sorry for bumping the camera. Throw these bags out of the way. Let's jump now to their hammers. Once again, 3 of each here. And I was really excited about these Warhammers. They reminded me a lot of like something you'd see out of Warhammer. So I've been excited to mess around with these. Oh, these are actually taped here. I wish I had some scissors. I have a knife with me, but I don't have scissors. Let me grab some scissors real quick. We'll be right back. Got the scissors with me here. Let's cut the end off here and just see if we can sort of cut up the tape. Kind of up the seam here. It's a little bit, I wish it was just wrapped in plastic instead of taped in. This makes it a little bit more difficult to get this unboxed here. Or maybe, you know what, I'm stupid. Why not go from the top, dude? Why am I going from the bottom? Yeah, that's crazy. All right, here we go. Problem solving skills at 0. We have the Warhammer here. Very nice, same very tough, rigid plastic here. It has a little bit of bend just because it's a bit thin, so be careful. Coming up to the hammer though, nice bit of gunmetal paint application around the flathead part, as well as this really like triangular, or I guess it's a diamond shaped little butt end. Really cool stuff. And then we also have another spike here at the bottom. I think it would be so cool if these guys just opted to throw the hammers as spears at long range. I think that goes so hard. So there we go. Very cool, very clean sculpt as before. Beautiful finish. We'll cut open the other 2 on camera too, because we're here. Cut the top off of this baggie. There we go, number 2. And let's crack open number 3 as well. I don't really have to do these on camera, but I'm opening this. This is my unboxing, so might as well get everything open. Unos, dos, and tres. All right, moving on. We have their daggers here. These are hard to get out. So interesting design. Their daggers are painted red on the edges. I think I remember from their Instagram post, it was saying that it's like tipped with poison or something. I'm not sure how I feel about the red end, honestly. It doesn't feel like the cleanest look ever. I wouldn't have minded just straight bright silver, but I get it. You know, they're writing lore for these guys as they release these figures, so I guess overall, totally fine. There's just not much red application anywhere else on these guys, so it just feels a little bit out of place. But let's see how the fade in the paintwork was. Looks very clean here. Looks like a little bit of a chip right there on the inside of the blade. I think that's just where the molding was. Maybe it could have been sanded down a little better, but it's really not bad. That paint fade and that paint quality looks pretty good. Looks like a little bit of overgloss right here on the edge there. You can see a little bit of extra paint, but to the touch, it's very smooth. Very nice, bright and shiny. Same nice, clean, matte finish with some little sculpted ridges for the finger grip and some little just aesthetic, maybe rivets. Really cool. I like this little hollow cutout in the blade. Very nice. Serrated on that end as well. Very nice sculpts overall. Design language is very consistent across all the accessories so far, and the paint has been very impressive. I would expect it to be impressive, but it's nice when your expectations are met. And honestly, with the way this plastic is feeling so far, I'd be willing to say exceeded. You know, there's a lot of imports that get sloppy. Amazing Yamaguchi and Bandai come to mind. They're not bad companies by any means, but there's definitely consistency and QC issues, and so far I'm not seeing any of that here. Clean red edge on the front of the blade. Same thing on the back. Yeah, it just seems like this is where the mold or the plastic is punched out from. So unfortunately, it's not 100% smooth on that inside of the blade. We get another nick and nub right there. It's forgivable, but you know, very, very minuscule QC problem that you could complain about if you wanted to. Overall, nothing bad. Nothing really bad. But if we're griping and beefing, maybe that's a talking point. Last knife here, I'm going to assume, just like the rest of them, it's going to look beautiful. If I can get it out. I missed the little edge of plastic here. You know what? Third knife, whatever. We're going to expect it to be the same. Let's move on to the guns. Let's move on to the blasters here. These I'm very interested in. The gun design I thought was very interesting. Honestly, kind of strange. So I'm excited to have it in hand now and being able to look at it. So from the back side, looks like we have an adjustable stock, very sci-fi in nature. Moving up to the front here, it looks like a sort of, you know, over-designed or maybe redesigned, fictionalized, conceptualized M4 top here. Got that more pistol grip type look. Low mag with these flared edges, probably just to help grip it. And then you move to the front here with this very, very modified looking barrel. We have this rail that comes up over the top there. Very similar to like an F2. And that would be a carrying handle. I'm not really sure if it's intended to be this or if it's purely aesthetic. Maybe it's to reinforce, you know, this extra modification up top here. But it's interesting because we have a mag here, and then we have some kind of underbarrel contraption here, as well as this white canister that's sitting in the middle. So I don't know if this is supposed to be like shooting rounds of something, and then this is like super heating it, or some kind of charging it up. Not really sure how it's all going to work, but very cool nonetheless. You have a supporting grip right here in the form of, I guess it would be a horizontal grip, you could call it, up here on the front of the barrel. I think the only thing I wish is maybe if there was a little bit of paint application right around here on the ports of the barrel, right at the very end, this muzzle brake type device. Maybe, I guess it would be a compensator. More of this compensator device. I think it would be cool if there was a little bit of spray or just maybe even some black washed into the little ports there. So it looks a little less toy-ish. But overall, very cool, very interesting design. Not sure how I feel about all of it. It feels a little bit over-designed, but especially considering how simple a lot of the rest of these weapons are. Feels like maybe there's just a little bit too many panels and rivets and vents on this, but can't complain. Paint application looks incredible. I don't see any silver overspray, and it looks like all the components have been very neatly assembled and glued together. So solid piece. We have numero dos. Looks very good still. Looks very solid all around. Just a little bit of a strange design, but looks good. Looks good. Last but not least, numero trace. And as expected, we're looking pretty good. Maybe a little bit of I can't even tell. Yeah, there's just a little bit of overspray on the white against the black right in there, but it's so, yeah, because this side, you can see that the edge is clean. This side, you can see that. I don't even know if it's coming off on camera. There's just a little bit of extra white in there. It's very minimal though. Overall, the lines and definition, very good, especially considering this is not a separate component. It's painted surprisingly clean. So big marks to them for that. All right, the next accessory, and I believe this one is exclusive to the 3-pack, is you get this little drone guy, and he should be articulated. So cracking this guy open, we can see we have a red eye here. He's looking down to the side. I don't know if this is adjustable or not. I would have If I go into the instruction manual, maybe it'll say. I assume so. He's got a little hollow hole in his eye right there too. And then we have some little not mandibles. We have these little legs here that are on ball joints. He's been nicely folded up, and paint application is looking very clean. No overspray on the silver on the ends. We have some gunmetal and some silver piping here. All of it looks really, really good. Oh, this is cool. A little bit tight on these ball joints. There we go. Semi-translucent gray wings. I love that they did that. From the pictures, it looked like they were going to be solid. The fact that they're actually, you can see through them, very similar to like a bee or a dragonfly. That's super, super cool. And I love the fact that the fins are articulated. You can twist them. They're on ball joints, so any direction, 360-degree movement, that's great. Coming to the back here, oh, actually we have a little back leg, so he can kind of stand like a tripod maybe if you adjust these right. So he's got three little claw arms here, and then just sort of this back stinger. I like that this port is actually molded in, or this cutout is molded in for this leg. So they are designed to fold up and I guess sort of transport very nice and clean here. Then we have these little 6 ports down at the bottom, and those are for the wires to plug in to the bottom of him, and then those plug into the Unkval eliminators later on. Really, really cool design. This eye has to move though. I'm positive it moves. I just don't know how to move it. Maybe there's a little tool or something I'll find later. But still, very cool design. Beautiful clean paint. We have some text up here that says "Bad Bee." I mean, just the detail of that, the detail of paint, the detail of different plastic materials, getting that little printed text on there. Very, very impressive. This is, I don't know if you can tell, but I'm pretty giddy about this. I like this a lot. Normally I'd have something negative to say. So far, quite impressive. All right, so now we come to our little wire connectors for each of the 3 guys. It looks like these are packed in sets of 2, maybe. They're sticky to the touch. I don't know if that's the rubber, and it looks like I have a little fleck of maybe paint or something up on the end here. You can wipe it off, but yeah, these are a bit sticky to the touch. I'm not sure if out of the factory I'm not sure if that just means they need some air time, and whatever factory finish is, they are not fully dried. I'm not sure how much I want to handle these just yet, but we get these black wires, or I guess just metal wires in this black rubber casing, and the rubber is just a little bit sticky. So heads up on that, but we get 6 of those, 2 for each figure. So there we go. Those are the wires. And last but not least here, I think these are some other, it says warning, check contents before opening. Don't really know why you have to warn me about that. We get maybe it's just saying be careful. We have a little clear post here, which I believe is for our drone. We plug this into the little bottom port right here, and I think that's supposed to help him stand. I think there's a flight pole or something. So we have that. These guys are supposed to have stands too, I thought. Maybe I'm wrong about that. But we have a little flight pole gasket there. And then we have the commander head. I think that would be the proper term for it. So let's take a look at that. Beautiful semi-gloss black finish right there. Almost like a satin finish, really. Pretty clean paint application overall. So the upper half here is actually painted in this, let me adjust this light more. Here we go. It's painted in this bone color, and then implanted in the nose and then around the cheeks and the mouth. We have this little venting and some gunmetal and then some silver application as well. Yeah, overall very clean. A little bit of a black dot right there. Nothing really too much to whine about. And then he's got this little radio antenna, and you can kind of see it in there. There's a little red eye dot in the right eye that's not in the left. They were saying it reacts to like UV and black light. so it's supposed to like help glow, but I mean in standard light it looks pretty empty. You can faintly see it there. It's pretty cool. I like it. I don't have black light to display this guy with, but there you go. And then impressively enough, the little silver spikes here, very, very clean, very bright and shiny too. Yeah, great modeling. Once again, the design language is very clean, clear, and concise on this, and I'm very happy about that. And then it looks like for the head port, we do have a nice, it feels a little bit harder plastic than I would like. I was hoping it was going to be rubber, but nice little clean gasket for the plug-in. And something else I like is that this head is all like pretty hollow in here, which means it's leaving plenty of room for neck articulation, which is nice. You can see it's just a hollow bucket. So all of that's really cool. And then last but not least, we have some of these little tank ports here, which are a pain to pull out. There we go. So these here, though, I think the wires plug in here. Yeah, so this plugs into the tank itself, I think, and then the wire plugs in here, something like that. So they're supposed to be able to maybe like refuel, or maybe it's information, I don't know, but wire goes from here into the bad B. So that's all of that. Holy cow, 21 minutes just to preview some accessories. Goodness me. All right, let's dive into the figures. I'm going to assume that all three of them are the same here. So we're just going to do one, talk about the articulation and everything, so that we can move this along a little bit faster. All right, so looking at this, the stands are actually sitting behind the figure, so they do come with display stands. I guess we'll move this in here. There's some tape on the clamshell that I have to remove. So, pardon me. All right, let me just slide it open. We can. Perfect. All right. So, what comes with it? Oh, I thought this was a separate piece. It's just a cover. We have an array of hands here. We have a pair of trigger finger hands, simply just painted in that same satin black. Trigger finger hands. We also have gripping hands, which I would assume are for the knife and the hammer. So we have gripping hands right there. We also have a pair of sort of expressive, angry, clawed up hands right there. Same beautiful finish. And lastly, let me get this camera to focus. Let's try that. Sorry that it's been coming in and out of focus. I just realized that in the viewfinder. And then lastly, we have a pointer finger. We get a pair of these, so we can point with his right and his left. And all three of the figures come with the same exact set of hands. So there we go. Behind the figure, we get the figure stand. So we have a nice plate screwed in, which is very cool. Sexy Ice, all rights reserved. And it's a 3-stage flight pole. So 1, 2, 3. And then we have a claw here. We can also remove the claw, and we can have the peg, which then we would use within the adapter for Bad B if we wanted to. So there we go. We have that, and that's how we get that little dude to fly. Putting the stand off to the side, let's dive into the figure itself. We got some plastic, putting around some things to protect it. We have some plastic around the head. We have some plastic that slid into the shoulders. Got to figure out how to slide this out. Not entirely sure how to do this. Okay, there we go. Just kind of got to flex the arms a little bit, and I just kind of pull it apart and then slide the plastic out. I'm glad that they went through that extra hassle to protect the joints. I appreciate that from them. Just peel all of this out so we can get going here. We have some right in between the hips, as well as right in between the thighs. So, good job protecting the paint and the finish in transport. I appreciate that. I like the attention to detail. All of that kind of stuff is very cool. Oh, right, there we go. Plastic is all removed. Let's look into it. Ooh, if you, out of the box, my first impression is very stiff. I'm also seeing a little bit of liquid residue right there, and my finger does wipe it away, so there's definitely, that's probably why they put them in plastic, just to protect some of that finish or some of that extra spray there. We have some extra plastic behind the head. Printing right here on the shoulder, Unkval. Some more printing. Whatever, eliminate, amend, erase. He feels pretty stiff. Chest is very stiff. The torso, I need to straighten it out. There we go. Wow, that's a little bit scary. I'm glad nothing snapped. I've heard from other people, I haven't watched any reviews, but I've heard from people that this guy's a little bit stiff. So just kind of be careful on the initial opening. All right, though. I mean, wow, this looks beautiful, though. Once again, talk about consistent design language. Very, very clean. All the paints and colors make sense. I think it's kind of interesting that like his undersuit here, or like the flexible part of his suit, is actually gunmetal. You can see that here in the elbows and in the forearms. You can see it here right around the thighs, the knees, and those upper calves. So interesting design choice. I would have thought those would be black and kind of more mimic like a black fabric undersuit, but they went with a, you know, what I would assume is a gunmetal mesh. Coming down to the boots here, we have some little gold clips, some gold clips there. Some more gold along the back here, and some of this wiring and venting ports. I love that the spine is picked out in that really bright silver. Some more gold here on the buckles, only for the big pouch. I don't really know what's clipping. I don't really know what's clipping these little pouches into place. They look kind of just like plastic. Maybe like they would be like quote unquote like plastic clips. More silver highlights here, and then some more gold tubing in the chest, and then it runs up around the neck area. So let's try to get this guy moving and bending now. I'm trying to be very delicate here, but so he's got this, he's got a ball hinge joint here in the forearm. If you guys can see that. There we go, ball hinge joint in the forearm. So that allows this lower forward and back, and I would assume that it allows some kind of twist, but it doesn't want to move right now. The upper joint here is on a much bigger hinge, as you can see, much bigger hinge joint right there. So you get way past 90 bend. I like how they did that. It allows, at the very least design-wise, it allows this joint to taper down so that you can have a wide bicep and then a narrower forearm. Most other places you would just have this like double big joint right here. So in terms of engineering, like that alone, very, very smart. Looking at the shoulder and the bicep, the shoulder, we have a big old ball hinge joint here. Once again, we're seeing just more of that finishing liquid. Just doesn't seem like it's quite set. I might have to take a little towelette or something and just kind of wipe all that away. For the shoulder pad here, it is on a ball joint that's just connected to the front of the shoulder, allowing it to flex and rotate up and down. I really like that. All of these ball joints, by the way, are very, very, they're not stiff, but they're really smooth and firm. The tolerances have been done. The tolerances have just been done perfectly here. In terms of the actual bicep, I can't seem to get a swivel out of it. I believe there is a swivel. Okay, we have a butterfly joint here that gets some really nice crossover, and you can see on the inside there definitely is a butterfly joint. It's just very stuck, and I don't want to push it too far. I don't want to break a figure on camera, so I'm going to have to come back to that. Let's try to come here to the right side now. We have our lower joint. Okay, this side wants to turn. So yeah, we do get some turn out of here, which is probably just a peg into the arm. Let's get that upper bicep bend. There we go. A little gripe, though, is that it just leaves this whole area open. I think that maybe this piece, this here, could maybe have been fitted inside somehow, and so you get a little bit more seamless of a bend when you look at it from the back, but not a big problem. So you have both of those. Our shoulder here, nice and smooth on the right side. We get our up, we get our butterfly that bends across, and it looks like this joint is plugged in at an angle, and so he kind of comes up across in almost like an uppercut fashion. And then we do have rotate here on this side, and it's separate from the shoulder. Yeah, so this, okay, so the bicep swivel here is a lot lower, and I feel like there should be something on the upper shoulder so that I can adjust the angle that this is at, but I'm just not seeming to get that. Okay, here we go. We have the lower bicep here. But yeah, it definitely would appear that there is a ball joint right there. I just can't seem to get it to move yet, so I might have to hit that with a heat gun later to loosen that up. So that's the arms right there. The torso feels like it's on a double ball joint, so we have one at the lower, and then we have one at the upper here, so we get really nice backwards. Wow, really, really good range backwards right there. I'll lift the arms up. And then likewise, forwards here. Very smooth too, very forwards. That whole spine is painted all the way up too. Love that attention to detail and that quality. That's great. I love that there's paint applications front side to back as well. Very nice. This waist piece, as you can tell, is just floating. Feels very reminiscent of like maybe some earlier SH figure arts, maybe an Amazing Yamaguchi design. And I think that is the cool thing about this guy too, is he almost feels like Amazing Yamaguchi, except like if they took all the QC issues and all like the blunders and fixed them. Like the mixed style of joint application here is really, really cool. And it just feels like they're taking the best of the best. Coming up to the head here, we have a lower joint, as you can see. We have a lower joint that extends very, very far down. Wow, you get a huge range right there. And then likewise for the head, seems like it's just a ball peg. You get some nice side to side, nothing crazy. Let's actually pop that head off. Yeah, it's just a double ball peg joint in there, so you'll get some forward to back, probably some lean in there too, and that's why this is all hollow to accommodate that neck. Let's actually get the little commander head sculpt on and see how easy that is to pop on. Super smooth and easy. Very cool. Very, very cool. I like that head a lot. Let's go down to the hips, waist, and thighs now. We're going to pull the arms out of the way. Looking at the hips, there is a little bit of this very dark, almost forest green application there. I wish that this color showed up in other places, but it's totally fine. Totally, totally cool either way. So, ooh, that is interesting. This joint that comes out here, the way it's angled is that it leaves this completely seamless. You can see, you get a little bit more of that finishing. Oh, that's just dried like that. Okay. So a little bit of some gloss overspray there, or it just dried up a little too thick right there on the inside of the hip. But it's cut at an angle, so you can go all the way straight. When you pull out, you don't actually really see the inside of that joint too much. That's really, really cool. I like that. And then forward also seems to partially come from this double ball joint that's sitting in between here. But I would assume that this upper part, okay, so this upper part moves here at an angle, so it doesn't go fully straight. Instead, it's on some kind of angled, I would guess like some kind of mushroom disc joint here. And so between the two, you can go fully straight. And then if you want to straighten out the leg here, you can twist at the thigh. So that's how you can keep him in a straight running pose. But naturally, this shifts at an angle, as you can see. And that's really nice because that helps accommodate this cut here. Everything seems to move very ergonomically. I think if I had one gripe at all, I don't like how far this comes up and tucks into and under the crotch. I think that's why I have a little bit of that extra glossy overspray right there. I think that's some kind of contact finish between the crotch and the leg. Not a big issue, but Amazing Yamaguchi does that too, where these ride up really far. I think it could have worked probably. Oh, actually, I guess not, because with this pull out here, you couldn't have mixed this green in there. So, I guess nothing can be perfect, I suppose. You can see a little bit extra, more liquid, some kind of finishing spray or application on the inside of the thigh there too. Couple little spots. Once again, it's on the inside, nothing really huge to gripe about. So we get some really significant forward, and once again, yeah, it'll go back on that sort of angle too, which gives him a funky little kick out, but thankfully we can just kind of use this double ball joint that sits in between the hip and this upper thigh to make any kind of corrections and fix that pose a little bit. Really looks like we have this really huge, is this double or single joint in the knee? I can't even tell. So we have, very visibly, we have this lower joint here, which, wow, that moves to 90. And then we do have an upper one too? It looks like there's an upper one. Maybe not. No, I think it's a single. No, there is a little bit of give. Yeah, look at that. I can straighten it. So I can bend this here, and then it just gives a little bit more. It's not a very generous joint up here, but it does allow you to make that knee bend slightly past 90. And as you can see here, it does straighten. So you can go fully straight here, and then your primary range of motion is going to come from the lower, and then when you extend it all the way, it gives you just a little bit extra to get that past 90. Pretty interesting. I like it that there's technically no visible joint up here at the top, and likewise from the back, it looks pretty seamless too. And from the looks of it, there is just maybe a little bit of paint rub right there on the top of the joint, but nothing all too serious. Yeah, so high tolerance stuff like that is just always going to be a little bit tough, but seems like they have most of it worked out pretty well. Coming down to the lower calf here, it doesn't look like there's any boot rotation. And then we do have we have a hinge joint here at the ankle. We also have some ankle pivot, which, so we can get some rotation side to side from within the boot cut itself. And then if I want to, I can also get some ankle rock from the peg that goes into the foot. So we can rotate side to side as well as get some lean. And then we also have a toe bend, which feels really stuck right now. Wow, that is very stuck. We're gonna pray for our luck here. Never mind, we're not gonna pray for our luck. We're gonna go to the right foot. Right foot, you can see the toe is actually bent down a little bit. So it's extended beyond where the joint should be. And there we go, that one moves. That one moves up. It's not loose, even though we cracked it, it's not loose, which is good. Very nice solid toe bend. Unfortunately, this left side feels very frozen. I'm not going to, for my sake, I'm going to do this off camera and be very gentle. So we'll double back to that. So all around, very impressive range of articulation. A couple little things like up here in the shoulders just feel a little funky. Same thing. There's just a couple little stuck options, but really quick, look at how proportional this guy is. It's very stylized. Once again, like reminiscent of Amazing Yamaguchi, but he doesn't have like the weird thin bits. Like he doesn't taper too much here at the arms or here at the legs, where Amazing Yamaguchi kind of does. And so you get these really chunky like thighs, and then you get these really, really thin kind of spindly legs or arms. This guy, he's got heft all the way around. And so even though he's stylized, he just feels like a brute. And he doesn't feel out of proportion with some of the muscle mass that he's packing on the chest and the thighs and the biceps, because the forearms and the calves and the hands and feet follow in suit. And so he just feels gigantic, which is great. Yeah, very, very impressive. I like this a lot. This might be my figure of 2025. Not that I make tier lists, but this might be a part of it. Really quick, let's dive into the wrists. Let's work on popping a hand off. Let's see how difficult that is. Not too bad. It's on a peg here. We have a hinge here, and then we actually have a ball joint on the inside of the wrist. So that's pretty cool. I like that. A lot of times you get this double, like Mezco gives you a double, like a ball joint with a double peg. This allows you to get a little bit extra of that rotation all the way around there, which is really cool. It adds just a little bit extra flexibility, a little extra expression, as well as you get a very nice, generous up and down on that hinge, and obviously we can angle it different ways. Plus, because it's on a peg, we get that rotation too. So really good use of mixing the joints together, you know, being able to get that twist on the forearm too. I mean, just these little things that are very, very smart with this guy. Very impressed with the engineering of how he came out. So we get 3 of these guys here. And then lastly, let's check out, I think the tank plugs just pop out there, and we can swap in the other ones for that little wire piece. And then it's even cool, they give you a way, you line up that little dot right there so you can make sure your tanks are always straight. It's pretty fun too. Straighten those out on the other side. Very cool. So while we have all of this out here, let's talk about size comparisons. He looks hefty, but how does he stand up against everything else? Starting off, I have the Adam Warlock Marvel Legends. I custom painted this up. I haven't posted it. It's just, I have a lot of stuff I've done for myself as of late, and I just don't post it because I know Instagram isn't going to like take too kindly to it. But I have this cosmically painted Adam Warlock figure. He's got some glowing eyes and whatnot. And he stands actually fairly comparable to this guy. A little bit shorter, but as you can see, not all too bad. This is the new body mold, by the way. So very, very nice right there. That's the height for that. I have a custom Mezco Batman, sort of like a futuristic Batfleck. Maybe if he got his own movie, he'd kind of look like this. And Batfleck stands just about the same height as this guy. It's a little bit of camera magic. I think if I straighten this guy to stand up a little bit more. Yeah, they're right about the same height there. Right about the same height. Ear to antenna. Antenna's a little bit taller, but shoulder to shoulder, about the same, roughly the same height. This guy might outscale him just a little bit. But, you know, if you're talking about Mezcos and you're talking about 1/12 scale, this guy sits right in line probably with some of your Mezco scale right there, or the larger Mezco figures. So they outscale those Marvel Legends just by a tad, fit in with those chunkier Mezco figures. And then we have the SH Figure Arts 2099 Spider-Man. This is another little custom repaint I did. We'll swap him out with Adam Warlock here. See how he stands up against the mix. Obviously, this is one of the taller figures, but it was a very popular one, so hopefully it gives a good idea, especially when you maybe are talking about your 1/10 figures or just your extra lanky, tall, you know, more like instead of 6 inches, 6.5, you're talking more about 7.5 inches. We have Spider-Man right here. Scales a bit above it, but honestly, pretty in scale too. This guy sits at a nice golden spot, both in terms of proportion, styling, and height, where you can probably mix him and match him across a couple lines and he'll look pretty good. So talking about a lanky stylized Spider-Man, these guys, who knows, maybe these guys are some kind of the Hand, some kind of government enforcement. Kingpin sends these guys out for Spider-Man, who knows. Really cool stuff, really good stuff there. Overall impressive package. I think for what you're paying for, I think these guys are completely sold out. But an individual figure, I think, was about $75, $85. For a singular figure here, you're going to get the alt head. You're going to get the standard trooper head. You are going to get a gun. You're going to get a gun, a knife, and a hammer. You don't get the drone, and you don't get the interchangeable tank parts, but you get everything else plus that stand. That's really good. I mean, for this engineering, for this quality, all the printed text, how just clean all the different sprays and the tones are. I mean, we have orange here just cause. Then we have this gold. We have this silver with this green dot, you know, for some reason. I mean, just the overall paint application for this guy at the price point, at the build quality. I mean, the plastic, it's nice and solid. It's not hollow. Like, this guy has really good weight to him. This is impressive. This is very, very impressive. at $250 for a 3-pack, that puts you right in the running for Mezco. But I mean, realistically, the quality, and I don't mean to bag on Mezco specifically, but they're just another one of those that make 3-packs. I mean, this blows the Snyder 3-pack, Justice League 3-pack out of the water by far. Engineering alone, proportions alone, obviously actor likeness, licensing. This is an original character, so they don't have to pay anything to anyone. So obviously there is more budget to invest in the design, but wow. I mean, really, really impressive. And I think that this goes to show what these original companies can do, what these, more, I guess you could say like bespoke figure companies are able to do with original IPs. I love original ideas. I love creating original characters. So I think this is a really just shining example of what you can do with the right artist, with the right creative team, and really just with the intention of bringing 100% quality to the, to a figure. I don't look at this in any way, both in the heft that it holds. I mean, it weighs more than any of the figures that we just compared him to. He has incredible heft, really smooth joints, even if some of them are a little bit stuck. Incredible sculpting detail, incredible paint application all around. The joints, they don't feel brittle and stiff, even though we're on pegs. I didn't feel worried about popping that hand out. I didn't feel worried about popping that head off. Even the tolerances on these little tanks, they're tight, they're solid, but I mean, look at that. Even the peg on the inside of the tank is painted. I mean, they hit all the little details. Yeah, overwhelming praise, overwhelming praise. This might be in the running for best figure of 2025. I'm sure other people have said that too. Big applause to Sexy Ice 2019. Right now, they do have another figure. It's called, I think, the Manticore. It's supposed to be another monster figure. So these dudes are supposed to go toe-to-toe with this big bioweapon. So after picking these guys up, I'm going to be pre-ordering that big guy for sure. I want to see more of this company. And if I'm not going to tell you how to spend your money, but in terms of companies that deserve some recognition and some support for good work on the import premium figure side, this is definitely a shining representation of what companies should be doing. There's too many big license companies that deal with a lot of QC issues for the price point. The paint application on this, everything just superb. This sets the bar very high moving forward, and I'm glad it does. Really just shows you what you can do. So thank you guys for watching. I'm very happy with this. I'm happy with my order. I hope everyone who is able to secure this guy is also happy with theirs. And, my quality is not a one-off, but everyone has this level of quality in theirs. And if you were not able to pick this guy up, go pick up the next order. I got mine off Bombusby. Once again, shipping took a little bit long, but, it is what it is. I don't know what other online sellers are there, but I know that Sexy Ice personally says that they are distributing through Bombusby, so you can guarantee that your order will be fulfilled through that site. Without further ado, thank you for watching, and I know this is a long video, but it deserves it. So thank you for sticking with me till the end, and I'll catch you next time. Take care.